Hey, pretty girls. So I'm driving as usual, and I started praying, and then I started thinking, man, every time we would get in the car when we were little, we would get in the car, we would be traveling, and my grandmother would pray a prayer every time. And so when I started driving, I picked that up, and every time I would start driving, because we lived right off the expressway, every time I would back out and get on the expressway, I would just pray, and that stuck with me throughout my whole driving life, right? Well, there came a point at some time where I was like, no, wait a minute, if we're only supposed to pray once and then begin to thank God for it to happen until it comes to pass, which we want, what we need, why do I have to pray that my angels encamp around me all the time? Why do I have to pray that the blood is covering me? Why do I have to pray that no accidents, no mishaps, no misfortunes, that everything is good? Well, I started praying that every time I get in this car, every time I get in any transportation, the blood is covering me, my angels are surrounding me, and I will be in no accidents, no pullovers, no mishaps, no fender benders, no nothing. Well, I started doing delivery for DoorDash, so those prayers started increasing, right? Especially, I'm seeing people that just driving crazy, pulling out any kind of way, just people just drive for themselves. They don't pay attention to the rules on the road. They don't pay attention to the other person, the other car on the road. So I'm in a parking lot, which the majority of my adults, now that I've been in so many accidents, the majority of my adult accidents have been in a parking lot. So all of mine, not majority, I've only been in 3, and they've all, with this one, I've only been in 3 car accidents, and they've all been in the parking lot. So I'm delivering DoorDash. This lady, I'm driving slow in an apartment complex, driving slow because I'm looking for the address. This lady backs up into me, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, it was hard. And I think it might have been so hard because I wasn't moving and she was just backing out super fast. I don't know. But I have a little dent on my trunk. Excuse me, but her car was jacked. She tail light out, glass all over the parking lot, cords hanging, and she was upset with me. And she didn't want to exchange insurance information. And I just didn't like the way she was acting. So I ended up calling the police. I know the police don't have to come out. In my state, the police don't have to come out if it's in a private parking lot or private property, right? So she's white, I'm black, I'm living in this white town, country town, and she begins to start popping off at the officer, and the officer was just like, he said, ma'am, I'm not here for all of that. Just exchange the information. So, he gave us a report or whatnot, because my neck, I felt really jarred, right? Phone went flying, coffee spilled all over. So, it was, I felt whatever. So he gave us a report. But I was like, now, I always believe that things happen for a reason. And I was listening, if you've been following, I've been listening to this book, Breakout by Joel Osteen. So Joel is telling this story. This is like a month or so after this fender bender. Joel is telling this story about a woman that's complaining. She had a horrible day. She woke up late, was late to work. Her lunch was messed up, and she didn't have the right sandwich. And then after this long, difficult day, co-workers or whatever, after this long day, all she wants to do is get home and put on her foot massager. Foot massager won't cut on. And, at this point, she's complaining, man, God, how come this day was so horrible? Whatever. And God was like, well, I delayed you from getting to work because there was a semi that would have hit you on the highway. It's like, dang, that just like, the person that prepared your first sandwich had the flu and I didn't want you to get sick, so I had them remake it. Ooh. I mean, like, Jesus, this is how it be. And the foot massager had a short in it that would have taken out all the power in your home. I didn't think you wanted to spend the rest of the night in the dark. So the foot massager didn't work. And it was just like, oh, thank you. I mean, I just start thanking God, praising God, because it's just like, oh my God, that's how it is. That's how it is when we're having a bad day or we pray for something and something goes against that prayer or something happens, like somebody backing into you. Yeah, but what was prevented? What did God prevent from actually happening that would have been so much worse, right? This apartment complex was on an extremely busy street. There's no telling what could have happened. My next pickup order, something could have happened. God is always looking out. And even in the fender bender, I'm like, oh, Lord, I thank you, because it could have been worse. I can just get somebody to pop that out. I ain't got to call the insurance. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Like, it was nothing. It was nothing. Yes, I was upset because it delayed me about 45 minutes, but... And even to that, I was like, I was thankful and grateful that, okay, I'm a little jarred, but by the next day, I was fine, But that God is always looking out for us. Our prayers are always answered. No, I didn't get pulled over. I didn't get a ticket. I didn't, none of that. Yes, I had a mishap, but it was so minute that I feel like my prayer was still answered because it was so minute. But just thinking about the goodness of God, we have to, as pretty ladies, pretty girls, pretty women, we have to remain steadfast. We have to remain faithful. We have to always look at the good of what comes out of your situation, your mishap, your misfortune, whatever. You're believing God, but then something blocks you. You're believing God, and then you're feeling good, your faith is high, and then something happens. We have to learn to push through. Find the good. Find the positive. We don't nag. We don't bicker. We don't complain. We press forward. We always look for the positive in everything. That's what pretty girls do. All right, pretty girls. Stay pretty. God bless.